I think we can officially get started with our webinar. My name is Jeff Cross. I'm the Media Director for ISSA. We want everyone to use the chat to communicate, so be sure to keep that going. Our webinar is about an hour long. This is all about what you need for your facility to do things better. So hopefully I know you'll take away great information from this. There is no need to worry about muting yourself, so feel free to make noise at your end. The only ones who you should hear are the presenters. So no need to worry about background noise from where you're located. All the background stuff is handled by our events director. So we just look forward to having you on our webinar today. One question that comes up every webinar is, when can I get a copy of the recording? So when this live event is complete, everyone that's registered for this event will get an email with a link to the recording. So that'll also be on our website, cmmonline.com. You can share it with your team, watch it again, but the information is going to be there in perpetuity for you to enjoy. Our topic today, as you can see on screen, is called Facility Management Playbook, Improve Guest Experience with Football Season Strategies. So we look forward to having this special webinar with Norman Faschulte, the Director of Fan Experience and Sustainability with the Philadelphia Eagles, and also Rachel Olsavicki, Regional Marketing Manager, Commercial and Public Interests, Essity. One last point as we talk about our introduction here is that at the end of the webinar, we're going to have a special Q&A session. You can put your questions in the Q&A portal. You can also put them in the chat. And we have a team watching all of this to grab those questions to answer at the end of our webinar. If we receive too many questions for the time we have allotted, then we will follow up with you after the webinar and answer those questions. So we can move on to further into our webinar. Again, the name of this one is Facility Management Playbook, Improve Guest Experience with Football Season Strategies with Rachel and Norman. And before we hand off things to Norman, I want to invite you for an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at Lincoln Financial Field, the home of the Philadelphia Eagles, and the hygiene solutions that help deliver the ultimate fan experience. We have a video for you to enjoy to get us started. Let's watch, and afterwards, Rachel and Norman, it's all yours.
Hey everyone, I'm Norman Faschulte, and I work for the Philadelphia Eagles. I won't get into our football season because it ended prematurely, and I'm sure we have a few fans on here. Although I did see someone commenting that they're from Detroit and that you do play in a dome, and I'm glad we all learned that, from the reporter. So on that note, good luck to you. So I oversee our fan experience. What does that mean? And sustainability. I really have my kind of hands in a few things. So one is our overall fan experience strategy, which basically means our staff in the building. We have about 800 staff members that reply or that report directly to the Eagles. Concierge, ticket takers, ushers, guest services, all of those folks you see out there. And really, how do we get the fans into the building? How do we park them? How do they enter? and then what do we do while they're here, and then how do they leave, right? And so the overall fan experience program falls under my umbrella. Season ticket member experience, we have over 14,000 season ticket accounts. We're pretty much 98% season ticket members in the building. We're very fortunate to have an incredible fan base that just supports us year in and year out, in the good and the bad times. Yeah, just very, very loyal fans. And I oversee that program, whether it comes to training camp and their engagement, whether it comes to the folks you see holding the United States flag on the field, pre-game and all of that. Those activations fall under my umbrella as well. And then sustainability. So I kind of I used to work for Disney for about 5 years, and I got my feet wet a little bit in the corporate citizenship umbrella, as Disney calls it. Worked under community relations there, learned a little bit about sustainability. I do have a background in biology, and did my pre-med. My dad's a doctor, and then decided to go a totally different route and study acting in New York. And so I guess now I understand a little bit of sustainability, and I get to speak. So it's kind of cool and get to combine both of those things. But sustainability, I used to be a spokesperson, still am, for the Philadelphia Eagles, but now I also oversee the program. And it's been really exciting. I've learned a lot, and I've learned a lot from our partners. Folks always say, like, well, what does it take for an NFL team to have a robust sustainability program? And I always answer, partners, partners, partners. And that has nothing to do with Tork putting on this event today. That is literally what I always say, because we're in the business of sports and entertainment. And so we have to learn. We have to learn from our partners that actually work in this field, that have scientists in this field, innovators. And we're glad that we have partners like Tork to teach us, some of the innovative solutions that are out there that make the overall fan experience better. And so, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. We'll get a little bit into the sustainability program a little bit later on. I think the partnership with Tork, why it's so special, is because under my umbrella with fan experience, I think hygiene matters. It matters way more now than it did before, because when we got into COVID and that whole time, which really seems like a blur, in all honesty. Can we all agree on that? I want to hear in the chat that all just, were we in the twilight zone or what happened? I have no idea, but I do ask once in a while. I ask friends of mine, did that really happen? Did we really go through that? Did the world really shut down? But hey, I guess we learned that webinars are really cool, and so here we are. That technology is actually awesome, and we can sit at home, although I am in the office. But so anyone who's home right now, good for you. My car got hit with ice this morning, so that was not fun. But hygiene is really important, right? I think we've learned a great deal during COVID that hygiene really matters. Because when you bring 70,000 fans together, whether it's for a concert, a collegiate event, right, or for the Eagle season, and they're all in close proximity, we've learned a great deal that hygiene really can prevent quite a few things out there that we want to prevent. And so to have a partner like Tork is really important to us, because not only does Tork deliver a really innovative solutions and help us get the best possible hygiene solutions to our fans, but Tork also has a sustainability mindset, and that's important to us. Especially when you deal with chemicals, when you deal with paper, to have a partner like Tork who basically says, hey, when we make soap, why don't we make it biodegradable? And when we have napkins, instead of someone grabbing 150, which we usually do when we see them, right? How about just having single dispensers, because we've learned in our company, Tork has, that, by I'm sure studying this, like I said, they are the experts, that it actually mitigates paper usage and napkin usage if you just have single dispensers, right? Maybe only 3 or 4 are grabbed instead of a whole stack, And so I think that's why it's really good, not only one, to have partnerships, but two, to have a partner like Tork who gives us the right solutions, but cares in a sustainability space. And that really is something that we look for when we look for partnerships. So like I said, we'll get a little bit more into our sustainability program a little bit later on. And when we do the Q&A, I will not take any football questions, not yet, at least. I'll have to get over this week a little bit first. And so, if I'm going to start shaking my screen like this, then you know why. But I'm going to turn it over to Rachel. I'm excited to be here with all of you and looking forward to spending a little bit of time with you. So.
Thank you for that, Norman. Thank you for all your kind words. It's great to be a partner with you and to be here with all of you. Thanks, Jeff, for kicking us off. And hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Olsavicki, the Regional Marketing Manager at Essity for the Commercial and Public Interest segments. So I'm really excited to be here on behalf of Tork. And over the next couple slides, like Norman mentioned, we're going to share how professional hygiene solutions can help you improve business performance and how our partnership with the Philadelphia Eagles has helped them in their goal to deliver a superior fan experience. But before we get started, we've got a question here on the screen. I would love to keep the chat rolling in. So the question is, what are the greatest challenges you or your teams face when it comes to maintaining a hygienic facility that promotes a positive guest or employee experience? Give that good question a thought. Throw your thoughts in the chat box. Again, that question is, what are the greatest challenges you or your teams face when it comes to maintaining a hygienic facility that promotes a positive guest or employee experience? Yes, we're seeing budget, Luke. We're seeing staffing. Staffing versus usage, that's a great one. There's a couple here up on the screen too. We already heard about sustainability. Plenty of challenges. The people using the facilities, right? Knowing when they're coming in, when they're leaving, usage, getting notifications. We'll talk about technology and trends. Restrooms, Jeff got a great answer there. So yes, all of these are wonderful challenges and wonderful challenges, better opportunities. But this is what facility managers are facing, whether you're in a stadium, in an airport, in an office. Keep those in mind, right, as we go throughout this presentation today. So let's talk about some of those challenges. On the next slide, we've got a couple here for you to continue to ponder. And as Norman mentioned about the pandemic, even now, right, facility managers continue to experience lasting challenges when it comes to managing hygiene across their facilities. We know it is hard as facility managers. One of the biggest challenges we see is a heightened concern for clean and hygienic facilities. The public, let's be honest, is super aware. They're hyper aware of what's going on, at least cognizant of their surroundings now more than ever. Guests are expecting to maintain high cleaning standards, high hygiene standards in facilities when they're going in. And what we need to keep in mind from this insight is that people do not shy away from sharing their comments, right? It could be social media, it could be a complaint box. Maybe they're even going out of their way to call customer service to file a complaint. So if we take the top box here on the left today, it can also be difficult to anticipate traffic flows. We saw that in the chat, right? Of managing guests or visitors, or even employees. Let's think about those offices in the commercial space. They're coming back on a hybrid return to office. Some days are busier than others, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. This can negatively impact facilities when the cleaning staff isn't prepared for an unexpected bump in the visitor or employee traffic. Another challenge we're facing here in the bottom left corner is the ongoing labor shortage. Someone else mentioned that in the chat. That's a good one. Organizations need quality labor to keep their facilities running top shape and meet those heightened hygiene expectations. But now fewer qualified workers are there to conduct these necessary cleaning tasks. This puts a strain on the existing workforce, right? The people who are pressed to clean, replenish supplies, manage those budgets, manage inventory, conduct dispenser checks, all while being understaffed. So lastly here, guest complaints, we talked about it. These pose major setbacks on facility teams. And sometimes it can feel like facility managers are playing keep up to tackle those various hygiene complaints. And it's taking time, precious time away from critical tasks. So, something to keep in mind is that team morale. The more complaints come in, the lower the morale. And we really need to keep ahead of all of these challenges. But good news is we're here today to talk about how the right hygiene partner can help you mitigate these challenges. And like Norman mentioned, we've got some data. So let's look at the insights next. As we all know, the bar for hygiene is rising. And according to a study that Tork conducted, 86% of office employees consider cleanliness as the most important aspect of a good work environment. In essence, when you feel like the environment you're in is well cared for, in return, you feel well cared for, right? This goes without saying for any commercial space, from offices to airports to stadiums, right? Essentially, all the facility is about spending time there. You're spending your precious time in a facility, and as facility managers, you want your people to stay in your environment, to stay in your facility, to feel safe, to feel taken care for, and enjoy that experience, right? The more they're feeling welcome and safe, the longer they'll stay in your facility.
Hey, Rachel.
So, yeah.
I love what you just said, because
Good. Yeah.
it just sparked something. So I'm totally sorry to interrupt you, but
Please.
so we do the staff training, right? Where we have every year we do about 3 hiring fairs. We have about 150 to 250 people at these, right? And we when we gather them all together and actually in the Tork Club, when we do our training, we ask them, so because we have a game day mission statement, right? And it's to create an incredible fan experience in a safe, clean, and friendly environment. And when we come to the clean part, we always say, okay, well, go around with a microphone, or one of our staff members here, when we do training, and we say, so if you imagine cleanliness, all right, so you're at a restaurant and you're going into the restroom, and you're seeing nasty toilet paper on the ground, and you're seeing there's nothing to clean your hands on and all that stuff, would you eat there, right? And everyone's like, no. And they're like, why? Who else uses that restroom? They're like, the chef. It's like, exactly, So I'm sorry, but I had to share that story.
No, that's perfect, Norman. That's perfect. Because when it comes to the stadium, right? I mean, if they're not feeling safe and cared for, they're going to watch the game on TV, right? And I think about an airport. If I go into an airport terminal, it's just disgusting. I'm going to go out of my way to pick another airport, pick another terminal. These really do have implications.
I was just in Geneva for a conference, and the Geneva airport bathrooms are actually maybe the cleanest airport bathrooms I have ever seen. So if you're ever in Geneva, go check out those bathrooms, because wow, I was like, wow, these are actually airport bathrooms. That was really cool. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes a difference. It really does. And also we think about those employees and the labor shortages, and it's a critical learning for any business to attract and retain top talent. You have to think about your employees, your guests, making sure these heightened expectations are met. So really, really good. This will bring us to our next slide here then. Another data study that essentially the restroom is the biggest problem area for facility operations teams, according to this quantitative study that surrounded facility complaints. We surveyed building service contractors, and we see that 45% of respondents agreed that restrooms generate the most complaints. So the big aha, as mentioned in the chat, is that the restrooms matter. Like you're speaking, Norman, and in the restroom, it really comes down to making sure that it's being run efficiently. More efficient restroom means there's more time to clean in other areas. A cleaner workspace means there's happier employees and better workplace satisfaction. So it's really a win-win-win, right? And to help the facility managers, we want to make sure that they're getting the right hygiene products in there. And you might ask yourself, the next natural question is, how can facility managers improve their restroom experience and ensure they're meeting guests' heightened expectations? So one solution, or one play out of the playbook, if you will, would be to utilize dispensers that are quicker and easier to fill. So this is ensuring that there's fewer product runouts. The product, like we mentioned, the soap, the paper towels, are all there when you need it to ensure those hygiene standards are met. You might have seen it in the height video too, and we've got an exciting video clip coming up for you here next. But one of those solutions that we recommend to keep with the quicker and easier to fill, and is also being used at the Eagle Stadium, the Lincoln Financial Field, is the Tork Peak Serve Continuous Hand Towel System. So this system features hand towels that are compressed by 50%, making it the highest capacity hand towel dispenser on the market. And then you partner that with Tork skincare dispensers, and I think it was already mentioned, the Tork Clarity Foam Soap. It just completes the hygiene package, and it keeps restrooms at the link running smoothly and meeting all of those expectations. So I hinted at it. I think we should just jump to it. Speaking of Lincoln Financial Field, we're very excited to share with you all here an inside look at how we've upgraded the Lincoln Financial Field with sustainable hygiene solutions from Tork, all with the goal of providing an outstanding fan experience. So let's run the video.
Walking in on a game day, you feel the enormity of the event that's about to take place. You've prepared all week, and being here 15 years, I still have the same feeling. You get a little butterfly in your stomach. We get 10 shots at doing this perfectly every year, and we take that very seriously. It's such a complex undertaking to get this stadium game ready because we have so many different areas, both inside and out. Typically, we'll have over 300 facilities workers and over 1,000 food and beverage workers. Add that into the rest of the staff, and it's a small army that is putting together this game day, dedicated to making it a great experience for all guests involved. By the time we open the doors, we're ready. That means every dispenser is fully stocked, every countertop has been wiped down. We want this place to look as close to perfect as possible. From a hygiene standpoint, we want to make sure that all of the correct products are available to the customer from the second they walk in the stadium till they leave. When Tork became a partner, they were integral in making sure that those goals were met.
We have partnered with the Eagles since 2007. Our aim is to help them improve their business performance through sustainable hygiene management. It's all about getting to know our partners, understanding their operational processes, their challenges, their aspirations, and being able to work together.
Tork has been able to provide us with their Tork Peak Serve continuous hand towel systems, which are able to be reloaded in just one shot. When restocking on a game day, it's a very chaotic situation as we have many people in the bathrooms. Therefore, we need to make sure that that product is fully stocked at all times in there. Tork's been a great partner because we've brought issues to them. They've come back with solutions as well as new technologies that have really helped us at an operations standpoint.
Tork is proud to partner with the Eagles to deliver on a superior stadium experience, which means well-being for their employees, fans, and players.
When we have a great game day, we all have an immense sense of pride for being able to give the fans a fantastic experience.
Woo. Always awkward to see yourself on video, but I think, I don't know about you, Greg's passion here, I hope it got you all pumped up with the possibilities for your facility as well. And one thing that was mentioned here is the alignment between the Eagles and Tork. We both prioritize sustainability. Consumers, we know, are demanding more sustainable solutions from organizations they choose to patron more than before, and it's not going anywhere. Sustainability is just, it's expected now. It's expected to be at the core of an organization's business strategy, and we believe that organizations should always be thinking about where they can minimize waste, reduce carbon footprint, and promote circularity. Norman, maybe what have you seen with the Eagles fans around sustainability?
Unmuting myself there. I get asked that question a lot. And let me swing out just for a second here. So we are in the business, I said this earlier, of entertainment, sports. People want to come here and have a great time, right? So we do a lot of things that hopefully will allow our fans to have a seamless transition from their cars into the venue, to the concession stands, to their seats, to the restrooms, and then back out and happy, hopefully, with concerts that's easier to achieve than sometimes football, but that's our goal, right? And I think people always ask me, or the media always asks me, well, how do you educate your fans on sustainability? And I really like to counter that. I'm not really in the business of educating fans on sustainability. We really just do this because, number one, it's expected. Number two, it only helps the journey of a seamless a fan experience. And number three, fans just want to have a great time. And when they, when they come to our venue, they come here with a purpose of, I'm going to go see the Rolling Stones, right? And, so we have to figure out, creative ways of communicating our sustainability messaging. One is maybe with artwork around the stadium. We used to have the sign in the men's restroom, since we're talking about restrooms here, that said, recycle your beer here, but your trash outside, so kind of, hey, we're recycling, but, let's make a little bit of fun of it. Way back when we actually had a sign that said, this was funny. And eventually we did away with it. We were like, okay, maybe the times have changed, but it so nobody quote me on this, but it said, trash the Giants, Cowboys, and Redskins at the time. But recycle your trash,
There we go.
So, just kind of like a play on words, and so we like to have a little bit of fun of it. We also have thousands of visitors come in and out of the stadium, and that's when on tours, right, on any non-event day. And so we have heavy go green messaging built into our tour scripts, and so I think that's how we educate our fans. But we did a marketing study to answer your question, Rachel, and I said I would swing out a little bit. We did a marketing study, gosh, maybe 5 years ago, and we asked fans basically top 10 drivers of why they would support any given sports team. And part of that question was sustainability, marketing or engagement, or, all the community relations, all that stuff, right? And sustainability in a Gen Z baby boomer area, right, of age, of that age range, sustainability didn't even hit the top 10. Gen Z, it was one of the top 3 drivers of why they would support a sports team. And so I think I've seen a shift with our corporate partners. I've seen a shift with, when folks approach us, right? A lot more people are asking about sustainability these days, because I think Gen Z now is the largest workforce in America. And they're as consumers, they're demanding sustainability. And so naturally, this as well as a sustainability cycle, there is also a consumer cycle. And so I think that now that companies have realized, hey, sustainability is really important. Number one, to planet Earth, it's the right thing to do. But number two, our consumers are demanding it. And so I think we're on a trajectory that's pretty good. I see really some uptick. 5 years ago, it was a little tougher, to talk about this. Just because I think it wasn't really top of the conversation, but now it is. And so that's exciting to me. I think it's exciting because now everyone's talking about it. In fact, and I'll end with this here, long-winded answer. Sorry about that, Rachel, but I'll end with this. Someone from Columbia University contacted me the other day, who I know, and he teaches a class up there on sports management. And he said, for the first time, Columbia University is now going to offer a sustainability in sports class. And we would like to get your help on figuring out some of the stuff that we should teach. And so I thought, whoa, like that, now the fact that this is in universities, in the Ivy League, and knowing that some teams in Europe have already hired folks, and here the Eagles have given me that title, I think it's awesome. I think we're in the right trajectory. And so that's overall what I've seen in as far as the trend in that direction.
Perfect. Absolutely. I think it segues nicely into this next section. I'm diving a little bit deeper here. Partners like yourself, Norman, right? That they're demanding more because customers are demanding more, and the trend for sustainability will continue to grow. So I'm not sure what the football term is, if it's a pass completion, but one of the ways that Tork walks the walk and talks the talk, one of the most recent examples we were really, really proud of is as of October 2023, so very recently here, we launched a range of carbon neutral dispensers. So again, this goes back to our commitment to sustainability and trying to push the industry forward. And speaking of the industry, since this is an ISSA audience, for anyone who attended ISSA here in Las Vegas in November, you may have caught this, that the Tork carbon neutral dispensers were recognized as an honoree for the Environment and Sustainability Award in the Innovation of the Year program. So even that, right, speaks volume that the industry, including a sustainability specific award within this long-running innovation program, really means a lot. And yeah, definitely exciting to see this continue to grow and continue to develop. But it's definitely something that we take seriously and we're committed to. But let's go to that example, Norman. You mentioned it earlier. For the Eagles, talk us through the Go Green.
Yeah, so we recently rebranded ourselves a little bit. We used to have a triangle in our logo, and for the the economy basically just going and recycling, reducing, reusing, right? And we said, it really it's going to a circular economy, right? That whatever comes out has to go back in and has to feed back into the earth and go out, and really going back to that basic of it being completely circular. And so we said, why don't we do that with our Go Green, right? Why don't we just make that just completely circular? And then we said, what are the two key pillars that we really would like to have in our sustainability program? Really, it's more than a program now. It's really a main pillar of our organization, and it's something that it's just in our day-to-day operations now. But we came up with Innovate and Sustain, because I always say a sustainability program or a sustainability initiative has to be sustainable. You will have one-off projects or one-off initiatives that you're doing, right? Of course, maybe, hey, let's try this. Maybe something doesn't work out, or maybe something only works out for a couple of seasons, and that's fine. But your overall sustainability program has to be sustainable. It has to be something that year in, year out, it's just part of you, right? It's not a one-off, we're going to do this, because look, we're not the International Olympic Committee putting on the Olympic Games in LA in 28 and deciding what can we do in LA for this span of weeks, right? And then how do we carry that over into the next, which that's what they're thinking about, for example, and that's what I hear from some of these conferences, right? But we have events year in, year out, 365. In fact, about 300 days of the year, we have events and people in this building. 26 major events, 2 million fans go in and out of this building every year. And so, how is our sustainability program sustainable, right? So we always ask that question, because when we go to Aramark, one of our concessions providers, right? Or when we chat with you guys at Tork, right? Well, when we put something in the stadium, will it last, right? Is it something that can be used over and over again, right? And then Innovate, I think that's where our partners come in, right? Well, what is an innovative solution? Like you just shared with your solution, right? That's really important to us. Because we really pride ourselves on some of the innovation that we have going in the stadium. We clean this place now pretty much chemical free, right? With a salt infused saline solution that is just made with water. We've done that for years and years, right? We have through partnerships, we have the largest solar power plant out there. It's funny because people always come to me and they say, hey, or other teams, right? We want to have a sustainability program. And so we're thinking of building a solar power plant. And I was like, well, look, that's awesome. But why don't you start with the low-hanging fruit, right? In 2003, we literally put a blue bin under everyone's desk and started counting how much paper are we recycling. It's the little things that can add up, and that's kind of how we built our sustainability programs, again, because it has to be sustainable. That's something we can do year in, year out. Hey, we can print both-sided. Let's make that a policy. Hey, let's not print at all anymore. Let's install TVs in every office. Let's install LED lighting. We're a 20-year-old facility now. Well, if you installed light bulbs 20 years ago, that would have bankrupted you, right? Because if you remember, Rachel, when you went and bought like 3 LED light bulbs, maybe not you, Rachel. You look very young. So if you installed if you bought light bulbs about 20 years ago, LED light bulbs, you'd be like, whoa, 40, 50 bucks, what? Right?
No way.
Now you can go and buy these things in bulk, and they'll cost you just as much as incandescent. And so I think now we're at the point now where we actually last year installed LED lighting around the entire venue, the sports lighting, right? Because it was a lot cheaper now to do this. And so I think you have to always look at your business, right? And where you're at. And then you have to look at your partnerships. What can you get out of that? And as far as the innovation is concerned, and then what can we implement? So we like to kind of kick that tire down the road slowly, right? And then figure it out. Does it work with us? But it has led us to some incredible things. We were the first sports team to offset our player team travel by planting seagrass and doing mangrove restoration in Puerto Rico. One of the largest projects the U.S. has ever undertaken in its territory of that nature. because we learned that it's good to plant trees, and we still do that with one of our partners, but it's even better to invest into the ocean because, blue carbon, when it sinks into the sediment, it stays there. A tree, you have to make sure it actually lives for 40 years, right? Is it just a sapling that has to grow? If it falls over one day, carbon gets released back in the atmosphere. Again, it's not bad. We need trees, obviously. That's where our oxygen comes from. But we decided as a team to invest into the ocean because it went just even a step further. We also are really proud to announce that we're the first sports team in the world to have a complete self-sustaining hydrogen fueling station in our stadium. It literally creates hydrogen fuel out of filtered water and electricity. And we have that in the back of our stadium. We're now looking at converting some of our fleet into vehicles that will be run by hydrogen fuel. It's a territory that's completely new. But we again partnered with a great partner and we're able to achieve something that I think just because it's such a robust program has gotten us to this place, and that's exciting to me, right? Because I get to go around the world and get to talk about this and say, hey, anyone can do this. You can start small. We did in 2003. We started small, and it has led us to this incredible initiative program, part of our sustainability movement now. And now we can share this with our partners, with our fans, our community, and do the right thing for planet Earth. So I'm super excited about it, but it is the right thing to do. Our owner always says this, Jeffrey. He really believes in this. He believed in this a long, long time ago when there was very little talk about it, and he believes in it now when there's a lot of talk about it. So it's exciting. It's exciting to be part of this.
That's wonderful. I mean, Rolla said it in the chat. Great initiative. So it really is inspiring and exciting to hear all about that, Norman. And so many great insights here. If we are just to wrap it up, that any organization, we hope you can take away some of these insights from Norman and myself, looking for efficient processes and procedures moving forward. But let's wrap up the webinar, get to some exciting Q&A. And my last thought here is, let's be honest, right? That hygiene management might not be perceived as the most exciting task taking place at a stadium on a Sunday afternoon or Monday night, right? So the important takeaway is that our data shows that hygiene does play and is often overlooked, but is a critical factor here. And it's got a huge role in driving a positive guest experience for your visitors, but also for employees and making that a great workplace environment. Norman, you talked about Jeff, but any business leader's approach to hygiene can affect their bottom line, right? That when an organization takes a more strategic, holistic approach to hygiene, they can improve business efficiencies. They can make employees and guests happier. They can minimize complaints, meet sustainability goals, and ultimately yield better business performance. So really excited to have you here today, everyone, and excited to share with you that the right hygiene partner for this organizations, it can help you in the long run and get to those outstanding experiences that exceed those guest heightened expectations we talked about. So yes, with that being said, let's turn it back over to Jeff to kick off the Q&A. Jeff?
Thank you, Rachel. And I want everyone to ignore the chat where I called it Cork. That's autocorrect at its best, right?
We understand.
Thank you for your understanding or forgiveness, who knows. But nice webinar so far. Great content. I think there needs to be a part 2, maybe next year when the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl. Right, Norman?
That's right. That's right.
All right. So we have a few questions for both of you. And the first one is this one. And you talked about this quite a bit, that 45% of some guest complaints are about one small area of a facility, the restrooms. Can you dig a little deeper into what your thoughts are to consistently reduce restroom complaints? So Rachel, maybe you can start, then Norman can comment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great first question to kick us off about the restroom. I mean, we're not surprised, right? This is an area that really gets bogged down by complaints when you use a hand towel and it's not there, when you're looking for soap and it's empty. We did a lot of research and data mining last year that we ended up developing a digital tool. So we gamified those insights. And if you go to torkusa.com, You can take the Tork Office Complaints Minimizer tool. So yes, we did the research in office with facility managers looking there, but like we mentioned, for any commercial or public interest space, these insights apply. So 6 quick questions that help you through looking through these insights, and it's all about getting those key takeaways, right? Where can we improve the cleaning? What tools and products are available to swap out into the restroom to help it run efficiently? Making sure that you're addressing the needs as quickly as possible. And I saw it in the chat about Tork Vision cleaning, but that's one of the tools, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But yes, it's definitely important to focus on those restrooms, and yeah, check out the complaints minimizer tool. That would be my advice. I don't know, Norman, what comes to your mind when you're thinking about those restrooms and complaints?
Yeah, I mean, look, from my side, it has more to do with the folks that are actually cleaning it, right? I think there are 2 factors here. One is the staff who's cleaning these restrooms has to have an easy way, like you just said, Rachel, to refill the soap dispensers, to refill the paper dispensers. They have to have quick and easy access to these things, right? If it's really difficult to deal with the equipment, and or if they don't know that the equipment is not stocked or is not working, then that's difficult, right? How do you mitigate that? I think the second thing to mitigate some of that is from in my area would be incentivizing our employees, right? Because they're the ones that are ultimately going to go in there and cleaning them. And I'll give you a quick story here. Like so our cleaning staff does a great job in the building, but when you have 70,000 fans here, and some of them, especially, for example, at the Taylor Swift concert, there were lines on our concourse, lines, I mean, of thousands of people trying to get into the restrooms. And so we were like, wow, because everyone had to go hit the restroom before she started, right? Naturally. And so even though there were several hours, but it was lines and lines and lines. And so we actually had one restroom that was in pretty bad shape. It just had overflown. I guess the toilet had overflown or whatever. But our staff was so busy in other areas that one of our guest services staff members, who really never they don't deal with cleaning, they don't, unless they see something, then they'll call it into our command post. But she gathered 2 of her staff members, one of our supervisors. She went in there, knew where the cleaning supplies were, grabbed it, and started cleaning the restroom. And we heard about this. We actually heard from a fan about this. And so I think as an employer, right, you look at someone like that and you can say like, wow, great job. And, we actually went a step further and we recognized her and her staff in front of the entire staff of our building and said, to fact that someone just took that upon themselves to say, I am going to take initiative. I'm just going to clean it. I'm just going to help out. And then we also rewarded her with a large cash award, because we just felt like it's just amazing that someone would take something upon their shoulders, instead of just saying, hey, restroom's overflowing, someone's got to deal with that, right? So if you have the right solution and then you have the right staff to implement those solutions, I think that's a win-win.
That's great.
Fantastic. Hey, Norman, when you mentioned Taylor Swift, we had 50,000 people show up on our webinar, just like that.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, that's how it goes. Yep.
It's all about swiftly cleaning those restrooms, right?
Oh,
wow. Is that a trademark violation?
Wow. Man, that was you win, Rachel. I was trying to win, but you win.
Rachel wins. She either wins or she had that in her back pocket this whole time.
Yeah, I don't know, but that was pretty impressive.
All right. Here's another question we have. Smart buildings are becoming more and more common. We see that, don't we? How can you integrate hygiene with all the new technology that's available today? And we started with Rachel last time. Norman, let's start with you and then go to Rachel.
It's kind of funny that this is coming up, because I just talked to our season ticket member experience department this morning, and we talked about our yearly planning for our events and everything. And I said, one thing we got to look into is how easy is it for our fans to communicate with us, right? So do they have to find someone, or can they whip out their phone and can they send a text message? Can they go on the app and there's just a button? Because when, in my opinion, I don't have just 3,600 staff members on a game day. I have 70,000. And if I can utilize 70,000 eyes and 70,000 voices to help me identify things like that, then the better. So I got to figure out technologically, how can I make it as easy, as simple, and as available as possible for our fans to communicate with us in a very speedy way that something is wrong, right? Someone goes in the restroom, sees something, boom, here's the way to do this, right? And whether that is the old red panic button, or is it something through our app? And we have a digital development department now, and so I asked our folks that work in the season ticket member experience department to look into that and say, hey, we got to figure out, we have several ways of communication, but how simple are they? How accessible are they? And can we make them better? And I really want us to look into the app, because that's what we're steering everyone towards. And so is it as simple, because our staff have these little devices in their hand, they can just press a button, right? Well, maybe fans should have the same thing. I can just press a button, hey, there's something wrong with this restroom, And so I think communication and instant service availability is key.
Completely agree with you, Norman. I think technology just continues to grow, and we talked about precious time, right? It's all about cutting, the time of tasks and getting more done in less time with less resources. And if you're already using a facility management system, our solution, Tork Vision Cleaning, it's been around for over 10 years. It's the world's leading data-driven cleaning solution. It's a great tool you can incorporate into your management system you already have, or really get started in facility management and get your fingertips on those data points. So with the use of sensors in connected dispensers, you're able to see the throughput. You're able to know when the things need to be refilled. It really takes the guesswork out of it. It moves from traditional cleaning to smart cleaning. You're no longer wasting time, doing things the same way, the same day, every day, in and out. You're really utilizing your resources and cleaning where it matters most. So, with Tork Vision Cleaning, it helps that hygiene standard. You're meeting those demands. Your high quality cleaning, and your dispensers are stocked like 99% of the time. So the data makes a difference, and technology is only going to get better and better.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Next question is this: when it comes to driving sustainability, it can sometimes feel overwhelming because there's already so much on a facility manager's plate. They're busy. Let's start with you on this one, Rachel. Do you have any actionable tips you would offer, or perhaps what we call low-hanging fruit, to consider to achieve sustainability goals with that challenge in mind?
Absolutely. I mean, that's a great question. We all can relate to this, that as sustainability grows in importance, more goals come onto your plate, and it is challenging to know where to start. But a lot like Norman's Go Green program, it really is about starting somewhere, getting an initiative in place, getting people in a room and making sure that you've got the right partners with you, choosing partners that have those innovations, that have the insights, the thought leadership to really make those recommendations and figure out what a low-hanging fruit is for your facility. We often come to the table with a hygiene package, if you will, and it will include a towel system like we talked about with Tork Peak Serve, making sure that you're only taking what you touch. You're taking one towel at a time, and there you go. You're minimizing waste right out the gate. And I think we saw in the video Express Snap, another Tork solution for napkins, that's cutting down waste. And with the ISSA honoree mention for the Tork carbon neutral dispensers, there's always something that's out there. And we at Essity with the Tork brand, we're always thinking about sustainability in mind. So my advice is just to start somewhere, reach out to your partners to say, this is what we're after, and ask, how can we help? Because, we're eager and ready to help.
Yeah, tap into the help that's available. Sounds good. Norman, anything to add to that one?
Yeah, I'm going to go way back here to the old Roman times, but you need a champion. You need a champion. You got to find the guy or the gal who is going to be your champion and who loves and is going to love just researching something and doing something. We have our facility manager here who works for Aramark. It's just amazing because he's such a champion for this, right? Him and I were both sent a completely recycled mop with a statement on it, just sent out of the blue, right, from a company that said, hey, this mop is made from 100% recycled material, plastic bottles, and it actually works better than a regular mop. And so after a week, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to make sure to tell Michael this, so I called Michael and I said, hey, Michael, I got this mop because I got the same mop and now I'm only ordering those. I tried it out, it works. And now we're only ordering those. I was like, dude, that's amazing. Like I didn't even have to say like, he said, awesome, let's try it out. He tried it out. He asked his guys, hey, you cleaned with this? They were like, it's better. Boom, he ordered it, right? And so I think it's as simple as what Rachel just said too, like just finding some sort of solution, just starting somewhere. But I really believe you need a champion. You need someone that works in the facility who has a knack for this, or who always wants to ask the question, hey, is there a different way to do this? All this shrink wrap is coming in here and we're just tossing that shrink wrap. Is there something to do with this? Who can I ask? And I think you'll find that then a little solution will happen and another little solution will happen. And then obviously reaching out to other venues and other teams, you find out some incredible things when you do. And I'll give you one real quick example here. We used to send out commingled recyclables and got about $70 a ton for aluminum. We just asked the question. It said, hey, if we baled our own aluminum, would we get more? They said $800 to $1,200 a ton. We said, that's a lot more. And we went and bought our own baler. We asked, how much is a baler? Is it easy to, and they were like, yeah, it's totally easy to operate. It's about $10,000. We were like, done. And so we bought our own baler. We've had this now for 8 years. We bale our own aluminum and we make $1,200 a ton in aluminum. Aluminum prices have gone up, And so I think it's little things like that. Then you actually can make money doing this, So find a champion is my advice.
Definitely.
That's cool. Taking advantage of the technology out there and getting it done. Baling your own aluminum. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Norman, there's a question here for you. Initiating a sustainability program seems challenging. I think most would agree with that. It's not easy. Can you share how you got started?
Yeah, I said it earlier, right? We put just a plastic blue bin under everyone's desk. I think I got the same question from the Jacques Villeneuve Formula One circuit up in Canada at one point. And they were like, look, the owner wants us and they challenged us to do this. And where do we start, right? And for some reason, I don't know what it is with us humans, but we always think big, right? Which is really good, but we're like solar power plant or, I'm going to offset, and all those things are amazing. And well, I really want everyone to get there, but you just start small. Because I think every little thing matters, if you either have a partner who dabbles in sustainability like Tork, or if you have somewhere in your community, like you could reach out to your city if they recycle, if they, and just talk to someone, just start a conversation and say, hey, we want to start our sustainability program, but we want to start small. Where can we start? Should we focus on waste? Should we focus on energy? Should we focus on water? Right. And a lot of folks start with waste and they start either recycling or they start, working with their waste haulers. That's really important, by the way. Make a note of that. To work with your waste hauler is super important. And you can reach out and we can get more into that. But I think it's honestly just to start somewhere. It really isn't that difficult. Nowadays, you have incredible people out there. Gen Z is coming up and more, and they're really invested in this. A lot of folks are studying this now. For the first time, we have an intern who studied sustainability, and she's been helping me tremendously. And it's as simple as honestly starting somewhere like we did with a blue bin under everyone's desk. Then we printed double-sided, and then we just count it. Let's just count the numbers and see how much paper have we saved. Oh, wow, we saved a ton of paper, actually quite literally. And then we said, well, can we, make a policy? No more paper, only your laptop or your phone and TVs in every meeting room, little things like that. And then count all those numbers. Okay, what have we done now, so that you see your steps actually now going somewhere, And then I think once you have something like that, eventually you'll find a partner who wants to partner with you, and you'll do something big, and then you'll get the accolades, and all of a sudden everyone wants to invest in it, right? It's kind of how every program starts. So that would be my best suggestion, is to just start somewhere. Start simple. Don't overwhelm yourself with it.
Good stuff.
Oh, one more quick advice.
Okay.
The other thing you can do is reach out to a university local in your area and ask their sustainability department. I'm sure you'll find it because all these universities have that now. And ask them, hey, in our area, what's really important? And maybe it's as simple as on Earth Day, you're going to go and plant shrubs that are really important for the monarch butterfly, because if it dies out, all humans die. It's really something crazy like that, you know, bees, like all that stuff, right? But you could do something like that. Reach out to your local university because they'll be happy to help you out.
That's great advice. Okay. We have a couple of questions from our audience from today, Norman, that are specifically about your facility, and then we'll get to a couple more. Rachel, don't feel left out, Rachel.
Hey, loving this. This is great.
So Norman, someone wants to know, they're curious, do you use any people counters to understand the crowd flow and where service is needed and when?
Yeah, I saw that question earlier, actually. We do have, we have some digital counting points where we know where people are, right? But we also have quite a few staff in the building, obviously, who kind of tell us where people are. It's pretty, I would say at this point, we kind of got it figured out with some of these normal events. When I say normal, it's like big concerts or big sporting events. We know that people are outside, then they come in, and then they go in the concourse, they buy food and drinks, then they go into their seats, right? Then we know halftime or in breaks, they come out, you know, football, they mingle a little bit more. Up here, it's a little more than down there. So we have that kind of figured out now. It's really not rocket science, you know, because human beings are very predictable. And so, but we have employed a little bit of digital technology to help us with that through people's apps for the Eagles, right? When, you know, our apps get pinged when you signed up for it, and then we kind of know where people are flowing. There are a lot of solutions out there that we haven't really bought into yet. But that's pretty much all we're doing. I know there are some other teams who are doing quite a bit more. As far as what you said, some people counters and a little bit more digital investment they've done into their newer venues, like Mercedes-Benz, I think, is doing some interesting things, which then can lead obviously to line times at concession stands and restrooms and all that kind of stuff. We haven't done that yet. Pretty old building, so we're looking into what should we invest in first. And one of the things we invested in was heavily security and also our ticket scanners. Those things are in the millions, and so but now we've, you know, it resulted in our fans not having to wait 50 minutes till they get in, or being treated like it, you know, having to empty their pockets and everything. Now you can just walk into the building, scan your ticket, and you're in within 2 minutes. So it's pretty awesome. So that was what we focused on, just to enhance our fan experience. But yeah.
Okay. We're going to go into overtime just for a few minutes. That's a football term, right? Overtime. So
it's me. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. This is good information. But this question is another facility question about restocking your dispensers. I know both of you talked about dispensers, but the question is, do you wait until they're completely empty or really low? And if low, does that cause additional waste? That might be a Rachel question.
Yeah, I mean, what better business case than to use data for knowing when's the best time to restock? I would think it really comes down to knowing your facility, knowing that those people traffic trends and where they are as far as your inventory. And there are solutions out there that you know, provide that insight of the green or red, or if you're running low and when to refill. But the best solution would be to implement a data-driven solution, so you know exactly when, and you're notified. I don't know, Norman, if you have a more exact tip on that one.
I'm looking for my. Someone asked about the company for the recycled mop, but I think
okay.
I think I gave it to our facility folks. It's not in my office anymore. I was kind of like, oh man. But feel free to reach out to me at nfosschulte, 3 S's in my last name, at eagles.nfl.com, and I'll get you that company name. I think what you said, Rachel, is exactly right. You know, it only helps, right, if you have a digital solution to tell you, you know, I mean, gosh, you know, that would be amazing to have a sensor and everything, like, up, here we go, you know. Obviously, if you are lucky enough to have a partner like Tork, you can figure stuff like that out. If you have to invest in it yourself, you have to see whether that is the one thing you want to invest in right now or not, or some of these solutions can get pricey, right? But it'll only get cheaper because more and more of this technology will obviously be very accessible to all of us. I mean, gosh, we have Alexa turning on our lights now and things like that, you know. So I think all of that stuff helps, you know. It's whether the ROI is there, because that's what you'll run into. You know, maybe the answer to that is finding a partner like Tork that can help you out with it. But yeah, it does help. Absolutely.
Okay. Another question, we'll do a couple more, then we'll wrap it up. But what do you feel about having a green cleaning program? Does that fit into today's discussion?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we do, and we've had this for many, many years. You know, we, like I said earlier, we clean the entire building with our Zambonis and all that, and the main concourses. We clean the entire building without chemicals, and it's possible. It's actually way easier now than it was years ago. Because years ago you had to create that solution and then in your stadium, and you had to have a big space for it, and then you had to take that water that was now, you know, ready to be used, but now it just flows right from the water line through an apparatus and into your whatever cleaning containers you take out there. So I think it's very important to have a green cleaning program. And then also to communicate that with your fans. I think it's important to let your fans know, whether that is through signage in the stadium, whether that's through apps, whether that is when you do things like this, the webinars, you know, I think letting your fans know, hey, by the way, we clean this building without chemicals. It's really cool, you know?
Agreed. And Rachel, anything to add to that?
I love that comment, Norman, about sharing it, right? Get those accolades, share the efforts that you're putting into your facility so that you're reassuring your guests, your employees, that you're doing the right thing, you know, not for just the environment, but for them as well. And they will return the business, right? They'll come back to your facility. They'll go into the office 5 days a week, whatever the commercial space is. If the sustainability is exceeding their expectations, pleasantly surprised, minimizing complaints, it can only be a win-win.
Our final official question is for you, Norman, and everyone wants to know, what is next for Lincoln Financial Field and the Eagles organization to elevate the fan experience? Because your fans are there, Norman. What are you going to do?
Like I said earlier, it's amazing, right? I've been here for 13 seasons, and I remember us getting metal detectors and doing away with turnstiles, and then you know, I remember lines of 15 minutes, 20 minutes to get in. It was like, whoa, you know, and now, you know, you just literally would just walk into our building. Even during the crush, when everyone's trying to get in, you just kind of walk in. And that's amazing to me, right? What an awesome elevation of fan experience. Because I never liked it, right? When you were like, oh my gosh, like going through the airport security, right? When to come into a venue. So that was awesome, and that was an incredible investment we've made. I'm so happy about that. I think what's next is probably for us, you know, depending on what partners you know, will bring to us and say, hey, we should look into this. But what's next for us is also investing into the digital space with our fan experience. Like I said, we for the first time have a digital experience department that's really working very closely with the league on future implementations of AI and, you know, all those things. I think you're going to see some really cool things coming out there, some really cool fan engagement tools that'll be out there. And so that space is being heavily explored right now. But that doesn't mean that all of our in-person activations with our fans are going away. They're still here. We still have an actual building, you know, and you can come to and take tours in and come see Taylor Swift and the Rolling Stones this year, right? And so that's pretty cool. And so that's what we're looking into.
Fantastic. Well, Rachel, why don't you grab the ball and take us to the finish line for today's webinar?
I would love to see if I can put another football pun in there. But no, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much to Jeff, the ISSA, the CMM, everyone in the industry, you guys joining us in, Norman, Greg, everyone with the Lincoln Financial Field, and the entire Tork team. We're beyond proud to be here and to share these insights and Playbook with you. I think if you found anything interesting that can be applied to your verticals, if you need any further help in hygiene, sustainable hygiene management, you know who to reach out to us. Give us a ring. We've got torkusa@essity.com. If you have any further questions, we can always connect you to that. And yes, just thank you so much for your time. And yeah, if you're listening to this later on, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. No football pun. Game over. That's it.
That's it. Game over.
Touchdown.
All right.
Oh
Thank you,
man, you
everyone.
said it. You have an Eagles person on Game Over. Yep. You know.
Oh,
Hey,
so
24
sorry.
off to a new season. Bye everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.